हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत
हरे
प्रणाम।
कृष्ण माता जी, धन्यवाद माता जी। ओके, स्टार्ट। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं। चैतन्यमीश्वरम् उमज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Thank you all for joining Bhagavatam study. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Lord Krishna returning back to Dwaraka. So, continue with the text number 6 today. Can somebody read? Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Amataji.
Actually, this the sloka Shruti Mata ji allotted for herself, but she hasn't joined
Okay.
yet. I'll read
Joined
for
just now. Just joined.
Yeah, I joined, Prabhuji. I joined. Shall I
Okay.
read? Ah,
Please go ahead.
yeah. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text is Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.106. नदयो व्यदय क्लेशाय दैव भूतात्महेतवा अजात शत्रु अभवान् जातूनां राजसी करीषित्. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Because of the kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at any time disturbed by mental agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold. Purport: to be non-violent to human beings and to be a killer or enemy of the poor animals is Satan's philosophy. In this age, there is enmity towards poor animals, and therefore the poor creatures are always anxious. The reaction of the poor animals is being forced on human society, and therefore there is always the strain of cold or hot war between men, individually, collectively, or nationally. At the time of Maharaja Yudhishthira, there was no different nations, although there were different subordinate states. The whole world was united, and the supreme head, being a trained king like Yudhishthira, kept all the inhabitants free from anxiety, diseases, and excessive heat and cold. They were not only economically well to do, but also physically fit and undisturbed by supernatural power, by enmity from other living beings, and by disturbance of bodily and mental agonies. There is a proverb in Bengali that a bad king spoils the kingdom and a bad housewife spoils the family. This truth is applicable here also, because the king was pious and obedient to the Lord and sages, because he was no one's enemy, and because he was the recognized agent of the Lord and therefore protected by him. All the citizens under the king's protection were so to speak, directly protected by the Lord and his authorized agents. Unless one is pious and recognized by the Lord, he cannot make others happy who are under his care. There is full cooperation between man and God and man and nature. And this conscious cooperation between man and God and man and nature, as exemplified by King Yudhishthira, can bring about happiness, peace, and prosperity in the world. The attitude of exploiting one another, the custom of the day, will only bring misery. Hare Krishna. So here, what is being told was that Yudhishthira was the agent of Lord Sri Krishna, and he ruled in such a way that the nature, God, and the human beings all lived in proper coordination. And as it was like the world was one big family, or where like they tell Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the whole world is one family. Although there were small subordinate states, but it was not like different continents, Europe, Asia, and all. The whole world was ruled by Yudhishthira, and people were not. They like they tell even in Ram Raja, people had no worries, no anxiety, nothing to do. So, being Yudhishthira being the chosen king by the Lord, he ensured that the whole world, all his subjects were worry free and all those things. But here now, if we see in one house only, there might be kids who might be worried, people might be worried. But Yudhishthira was such a capable ruler. Like today, we see there are so many problems in world in one house only, in different floors, families will be having problems within a single family of 4 5 people. Only people keep fighting, but here the whole his whole kingdom was under so much of peace, prosperity, and happiness. Nobody had any issues. So when a ruler is chosen by the Lord himself, he possesses the pious qualities of the Lord, and he gets the powers of the Lord also and his blessing. So he is able to do so everything so nicely. And also, cooperation between nature is very important, because we have seen when nature is exploited for our benefits, when we make the rivers dirty. Like in Hinduism, there is a very good philosophy: we worship nature. Our rivers we worship, like Ganga, Yamuna is as sacred. Trees we worship our animals, from cow to tiger to everything we worship. And even the soil, we call it as Mother Earth, that is worshipable. So Hinduism has a very good policy which tells that cooperation between the Mother Earth, the nature, and the human beings and animals is very important for overall growth. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells, of the rivers I am Ganges, of the stars I am this, of the animals I am this, of the snakes I am this. So he tells that he is Krishna is a part and parcel, is a soul in each and every non-living and living being. So each and everything of Mother Nature is worshipable. And if we consider that, then we will not. Now we see that people are throwing garbage, cutting trees indiscriminately, exploiting nature, dirtying the rivers, and suddenly landslides happen when deforestation happens. Recently, there were floods over there in Western Ghats. Landslides were happening even on route to go to Mangalore. Then few years back in Kedarnath, a huge cloud burst was there, and full of the rocks and all were falling. So now droughts, floods, landslides, when we exploit nature, nature also starts punishing us suddenly. Wayanad, we saw recently, there were a lot of floods. Many people died in Wayanad. Later, they came to know that forests were being cut, and they were being made into resorts and all. So this is being happening commonly nowadays. But in when the nature is worshipped and Mother Nature is treated in, yes, we need to, when we need to cut trees for furniture and all and for important things, then it is okay. Then we have to do it. But indiscriminate cutting of trees and forests for our greediness, once in a while, even Mother Nature will treat us. And when Mother Nature throws back its anger, it's like God itself directs the anger. Nobody can do anything. So we cannot even predict that tsunami was coming. So many people died in tsunami. So it shows that, like in our Hindu culture, we have the thing of worshipping each and everything about nature as a part of parcel of God. So there, when we do that, there will be overall prosperity, happiness, and thing, like how Yudhishthira did. He was a very good ruler. He saw to that the people were not worried, Mother Nature was respected, and overall there was prosperity and happiness, and also God, Sri Krishna's principles were followed by the people. So all around development was that. This is what I understood, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, the first point, maybe we are not Hindu, Sanatanis. That's a point I understand. Hindu is kind of a name came later, but yeah, point what you said that yeah, Sanatana Dharma is all-inclusive Dharma. It talks about even the Krishna himself says, na ambija pada pridha. So that means every living entity, nature, everything included. Yeah. Further, what you said, the Prabhupada in the purport, it says to be non-violent to human being and to be killer of or enemy of the animal is Sanatana philosophy. So again, Prabhupada is stressing on the killing of animals or other living entities. Especially, we should be very careful of the Go Hatya. Of course, no animal killing. That's why the four regular principle Prabhupada talks about no meat eating. No meat eating means no killing animals. Sometimes people may say that, no, I'm not killing, I'm eating the restaurant. So I just purchased the meat and cooked. No, there are six kind of the butchers, which includes the person eating, person transporting, person cooking, also considered as a butcher, so will be equally punished. So the slaughterhouse, killing of the other living entity has to be stopped. That's the one point Prabhupada talks about here. And also Prabhupada says there is a proverb in Bengali, okay, the king has to be, the ruler has to be good. Yesterday also we discussed the ruler is good means everything can be good. Now to get a good ruler, we also have to we have to behave nicely, we have vote nicely. So we are also equally responsible to select a right leader. Even the right leader is there. If people don't vote, what is the point? How can we come to the power? I mean, that's the point. The people should understand, not go behind this petty small benefit. Then they look at the whole overall development and interest of the nation. Then select such leader. That leader can help. So Prabhupada also is that there is a full cooperation between man, God, and man and nature when we are in a Krishna consciousness. When we do all this cooperation, because why man and nature has to be protected. Wow, man and God, we have to do the sacrifices, we have to do the worship of the Lord, and the same time Agnya sacrifices. With that, all the devatas get the share. So with this, the man, God, man, nature, everything is a cooperation. Like in any company, all the departments should cooperate. Similarly, the Krishna's complete department and everybody cooperates together, it becomes a happiness. Further, Srila Prabhupada finally talks about the attitude of exploiting one another is the custom of the day, will bring misery. So today's material world is exploitation. And how do I extract more from others? That's the kind of a philosophy in the material world. That will bring a misery. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Okay. We'll move on to the next. Sloka number 7. Who is going to recite?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
I am allotted. Ushitva Astinpure Masan Katipayan Hari Suhrutam Savi Sokaya Swasu Sapriya Kamyaya. Purport and translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: Sri Hari, Lord Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna resided at Hastinapura for a few months to pacify his relatives and please his own sister Subhatra. Purport: Krishna was to start for Dwaraka, his own kingdom, after the battle of Kurukshetra and Yudhishthira being enthroned. But to oblige the request of Maharaja Yudhishthira, And to show special mercy to Bhishma Deva, Lord Krishna stopped at Hastinapura, the capital of the Pandavas. The Lord decided to stay especially to pacify the aggrieved king and as well as to please Subhadra, sister of Lord Sri Krishna. Subhadra was especially to be pacified because she lost her only son Abhimanyu, who was just married. The boy left his wife Uttara, mother of Maharaja Parikshit. The Lord is always pleased to satisfy his devotees in any capacity. Only his devotees can play the parts of his relatives. The Lord is absolute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, further, Lord Shri Hari, Shri Krishna resided in Hastinapur a few more months. So, when he is about to leave Dwaraka, Yudhishthira Maharaj requested. So, he continued. So, in the previous also, how he came to show his mercy to Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev was on the Sharashaya, the bed of arrows. So, he came to give him darshan, so that, and also inspire him to speak to Yudhishthira Maharaj, so that Bhishma Dev could speak to Yudhishthira Maharaj. He gave all the philosophy we studied in the previous. So that's the mercy of Shri Krishna is mentioned here. Also, Prabhupada talks about Yudhishthira was aggrieved. In the previous chapter, we studied that Yudhishthira was thinking that all this massacre happened. So many people are killed because of I'm responsible for that. So that's why Bhishma Dev pacifies him. So that's also done. And also special mercy to Subhadra, his own sister, who lost her son. So that is also Krishna's plan. Finally, Prabhupada finally talks about the only his devotees can play the part of relatives. Lord is absolute. Yeah. Now, even though Lord has came to pacify Subhadra or Yudhishthira or the loss of Abhimanyu, they are all relatives. They are not relatives in the bodily terms. They are absolutely pure devotees of the Lord. So, in that perspective, they take part in that particular role. So that's the point Srila Prabhupada is saying. To become a devotee of the Lord, one has to be pure. One has to come from that spiritual world. Otherwise, we cannot become a relative of the Lord. Okay, we'll read the next sloka. Anyone?
Next shloka not allocated, Prabhuji. Whoever wants, they can read it.
Okay, Mataji, I'll read. Text says, Amantya Chabanu Jnata Parish Vajyabi Vadyatam Aruroha Tamkashit Parishato Abhivaditaha. Vedanta Swami Prabhupada teacher. Translation. Afterwards, when the Lord asked permission to depart and the king gave it, the Lord offered his respects to Maharaja Yudhishthira by bowing down his feet, and the king embraced him. After this, the Lord, being embraced by others and receiving their obeisances, got into his chariot. Purport. Maharaja Yudhishthira was the elder cousin of Lord Krishna, and therefore, while departing from him, the Lord bowed down at the king's feet. The king embraced him as a younger brother. Although the king knew perfectly well that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, the Lord takes pleasure when some of his devotees accept him as less important in terms of love. No one is greater than or equal to the Lord, but he takes pleasure in being treated as younger than his devotees. They are all transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The impersonalists cannot enter into the supernatural roles played by the devotee of the Lord. Thereafter, Bhima and Arjuna embraced the Lord because they were of the same age. But Nakula and Sahadeva bowed down before the Lord because they were younger than he.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Lord is about to start back towards Dwaraka. So again, how the send-off ceremony happens. When Lord came also, there was a lot of welcome happened. Now when Lord leaving also, a lot of send-off is happening. So here some basic etiquettes of Vaishnava is spoken. Like when seniors are there, we should bow down, we should touch their feet. Krishna, Supreme Personality Godhead, he is setting an example by paying obeisances to Yudhishthira Maharaj. As far as Yudhishthira is concerned, he knows very well. Krishna is not an ordinary person, he is the Supreme Lord. But just because Krishna is expressing his gratitude by doing that, King also embarrassed him. And also, Prabhupada talks about King knew very perfectly well that Krishna is a Supreme Personality Godhead. This is the point, it's not Yudhishthira was unaware of it. And also, Prabhupada says, no one greater than or equal to the Lord. No one is above the Lord. Ishwarha Parama Krishnaha Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Brahmaji says that he is Sarva Karana Karana. He is Anadir. He is the beginning of everything. Finally, Srila Prabhupada talks about Bhima and Arjuna, embarrassed because they are the equal level, whereas Nakula Sahadeva, they are youngers, so they touch the feet of Supreme Lord. They ask for blessings. So this is how the basic etiquette follows. So we as a practicing devotees also we should try to follow this basic etiquette, even any aspect for that matter. Okay, we'll read one more. Somebody can read this.
6, 9 to 10.
Yeah.
Subhadra Draupadi Kunti Virata Tanaya Tata Gandhari Dhritarashtrascha Yudhutsar Gautamo Yamau Vikrodarascha Daumyascha Striyo Matsya Sutadaya Nasistihere Vimuhyanto Viraham Sanga Danvanaha. Translation and purpose. Anybody wants to read? Prabhuji and Mataji?
I'll read now, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. At that time, Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsu, Kripacharya, Nakula, Sahadeva, Bhimasena, Daumya, and Satyavati all nearly fainted because it was impossible for them to bear separation from Lord Krishna. Purport: Lord Sri Krishna is so attractive for the living beings, especially for the devotees, that it is impossible for them to tolerate separation. The conditioned soul, under the spell of illusionary energy, forgets the Lord. Otherwise, he cannot. The feeling of such separation cannot be described, but it can be simply be imagined by devotees only. After his separation from Vrindavana, and innocent rural cowherd boys, girls, ladies, and others, they all felt shock throughout their lives, and the separation of Radharani, the most beloved cowherd girl, is beyond expression. Once they met at Kurukshetra during a solar eclipse, and the feeling which was expressed by them is heartrending. There is, of course, a difference in the qualities of the transcendental devotees of the Lord, but none of them who have ever contacted the Lord by direct communion or otherwise can leave him for a moment. That is the attitude of the pure devotee. So here it is being told that a Krishna is so attractive to all the living beings that it is separation from them. Similar was the case when Sri Krishna left Vrindavan for Mathura. All his our friends, his cows, and all the gopis, and especially Radharani, they felt a lot of sadness because they were separated from Krishna. Although mentally they had Krishna, or they were always thinking about Krishna, but physically they felt a lot of this thing. And once when they met Krishna, one time they were very sad that after such a long time they were meeting Krishna. So, people like here the same thing happened when Krishna was going to Dwarka from Kurukshetra. All Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, and all Nakula, Sahadev, and all the Pandavas and Bhimasena and Satyavati all fainted because it was impossible to bear the separation. So Krishna is so dear to his pure devotees that when he is physically also when he is not present they feel such a separation from him, they always keep thinking of him. So the separation from Krishna is unbearable, huh? Although this is just illusionary energy because Krishna is present in our souls, and when we think of Krishna it is told that chanting his name is also equivalent to Krishna's presence only. But still physically when they don't find Krishna they feel a the sad separation from him. This is what I understood, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Here, the names mentioned about Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, and men like the Rashtra Yusava, Kripacharya, Nakula, Sahadeva, Bhishmasena, Dhaumya, Satyavati, etc., etc. Now, here, especially the two names here, and they mention that all become for them impossible to bear the separation of the Lord, and they fainted. But see how Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, their names also there. Actually, they are the one most aggrieved, or they were the more kind of enmity towards Lord because they lost all son children. So that's why Dhritarashtra was not happy with the Krishna. But here, understand that how he was, also, is expressing his separation. So this shows, everybody in the Krishna's association, they were devotees of the Lord. Even Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, they are all devotees of the Lord. But just in that particular role, they're playing that role. They are not enemies. Maybe in that body, they are acting like enemy. Like, how Jaya Vijaya came as Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, and Ravana, and Kumbhakarna, Shishupala, Dantavakra. They are maybe in that particular body, they are expressing their, enmity and anger. But originally, they are the pure devotees. Similarly, here, Dhritarashtra, I don't know who was Dhritarashtra in the previous life, but point is that Dhritarashtra and Gandhari also fainted because separation from the Lord. If normal circumstances, if some of our enemy leaves, people will be happy. Oh, yes, let him go. So, but here, not like that. They were so sad. Here, Srila Vishnunath Chakravarti Thakur writes that Subhadra Draupadi Kunti, that sloka is referring to Yusavas Dharashtra's son by Vaishayam wife. Gautama is a Kripa. Matsya Suta refers to Uttara. Her name is repeated because of the confusion arising on thinking of how her embryo was saved by Krishna or refer to Satyavati. That's what Srila Vishnu Chakravarti writes. So the lesson for us here is that in the previous verse we can understand as a grahasthas or as a householder what kind of etiquette we should follow to receive a guest and to send off both places. Even if the person has come or going is elder, we should bow our head towards his lotus feet. If they are equals, we can embrace, but if they are smaller, we can bless them. But whatever it is, etiquette has to be followed. And this verse also Prabhupada further talks about how Supreme Lord Krishna is so merciful. And that's why even the enemies, they want to come and see him. Even in the material perspective, Dhritarashtra Gandhari was enemy because Krishna was fighting for Pandavas. But still, they were so attracted to Krishna. Krishna, the word Krishna means all attractive. Krishna attracts every living entity. That's why he is called Krishna. With this, I'll stop here. Devotees can share your comments.
Prabhuji, please kindly add Umashankar Prabhuji's and Murli Prabhuji's numbers in the group because we are not able to allocate slokas.
Okay.
And tomorrow class is there, Prabhuji? Diwali?
You all want it, or you want to take a break? You tell me.
Take a break, Prabhuji.
Yeah, take a break, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay.
Prabhuji, Vrindavan pastimes was told, no, Prabhuji, Fridays.
That is on Friday.
Vrindavan,
They said Friday. Friday said, no? They said Friday. Yeah.
Tomorrow is Friday, no, Prabhuji?
Tomorrow.
Thursday,
no?
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Okay.
Right. So they are not sent any message. So I'll remind them, send a message for Friday. So yeah, go ahead. Others can share the comments, feedback if any. Who want to start? Start from the end. Yeah, Uma Shankar Prabhu, can start.
Yes, Prabhuji. Today's takeaway is that how the king should be the ruler. So actually, in the olden days, all were God consciousness, and they rule according to the laws of the shastras and everything. So everything was prosperous, not like today that everybody exploits and each and every natural resources. So the same thing happens in the households also. So each and every, even within the family member, they exploit each and every other, Prabhuji. So everybody should be God conscious, and they should be like Vasudeva Kudumbakam, what it was mentioned.
Okay, thank you, bro. Yeah, who else? Shruti Mataji, Shruti Mataji, any other points are there? Can I add? Shruti Mataji, anything is there? Not. Shridev Mataji.
Nothing, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Ramesh Prabhu, add anything? Mariappan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
No meat eating must be understood in right context, Prabhuji. And I must always protect the animals, including cows. And I must be merciful towards each and every living identity on this earth. If the ruler is good, everything is good. And spiritual conscious will be ensuring integrated life of human beings with nature. And for pure devotees, Lord is prepared to completely satisfy and fulfill all their requirements. Basic etiquettes are prescribed and demonstrated by Lord with Vaishnavas. And even though he is being Supreme Lord, he has beautifully exhibited his model etiquettes, how the human beings should behave in this universe. And I must try to understand that and follow in my life. In association with Lord, everyone, including Dhritarashtra and Kantari, are pure devotees. They are simply performing their characters as enemies. So with this, I understand there are no enemies as such for the Lord. Everyone is get attracted and gets purified, even if they are having any contamination with them. That much I have understood from you.
Thank you. Thank you. Lakshmi Mataji, anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Nothing, Prabhuji. I joined late.
Yeah, Murali Prabhu, are you there? Okay. Asha Mataji.
Prabhuji, nothing, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Nothing, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. So we'll end here. So tomorrow no class, right? Okay, welcome. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyasya patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. She'll see you maybe Friday if there is Vrindavan pastime. They will send a message. Otherwise Monday.
Happy
Hare Krishna.
Diwali.
Thank you for the
Hare